I found the notebook by accident. It was tucked behind his desk, spiral-bound, half hidden under old bills. What caught my eye wasn't the notebook itself, it was my own name, written at the top of a page, followed by a list of my habits, my fears, and the exact words that made me agree to things I normally wouldn't. My brother Daniel had been studying me. I want to back up a little, because none of this made sense until I understood where it started. Daniel and I grew up close. Not the kind of close where you talk every day, but the kind where you just know someone. He was always the quieter one, the observer. While I made friends easily, he sat back and watched people. I used to think it was shyness. I never thought it was strategy. 3 years ago, he got into psychology, really into it. He started with books on body language, then persuasion, then what he called influence engineering. I remember him explaining concepts at family dinners, things like anchoring, social proof, the foot-in-the-door technique. I found it interesting. I even admired it. My brother, self-taught, understanding the human mind better than most people with degrees. What I didn't realize was that somewhere along the way, studying people turned into using people. And the people closest to him became his first subjects. It started small. Little things I brushed off as coincidence. He'd bring up a topic in a way that made me feel like the idea was mine. He'd time favors around moments when I was emotionally low, when I was more likely to say yes. I remember one night I was stressed about work, and out of nowhere he offered to help me relax by taking me out, and somehow, by the end of that night, I had agreed to lend him money I hadn't planned on lending. At the time, I thought I was just being generous. Looking back, I realized the entire conversation had been engineered, step by step, to lead me there. I didn't see the pattern then. Nobody does, when it's someone they trust. The notebook changed that. I sat there on the floor of his room, flipping through pages that weren't just about me. There were pages on our mother, her insecurities, her guilt triggers, the specific tone of voice that made her more agreeable. There were pages on his girlfriend at the time, detailing which questions made her open up, which silences made her anxious enough to fill the gap with confessions. There was even a page on our father, someone who barely showed emotion, with notes on how pride could be used to steer his decisions. At first, I felt confusion more than anger. This didn't fit the brother I knew. I remember sitting there thinking, is this some kind of assignment? A hobby? Maybe he was just fascinated by the theory and testing it academically, not maliciously. I wanted there to be an innocent explanation. That's what the mind does, it searches for a version of events where the person we love isn't capable of something uncomfortable. But there was a page dated only a few weeks earlier. It wasn't theoretical. It was a plan. A plan to convince our mother to sign over part of her savings toward an investment he wanted to make, using guilt about how much she owed him for staying nearby all these years. Reading his own handwriting describing how to manipulate her, step by step, made my stomach turn in a way I can't fully describe. It wasn't rage. It was closer to grief. I didn't confront him right away. I sat with it for 2 days, replaying years of interactions in my head, recognizing patterns I had never questioned before. Every kind gesture now had a question mark next to it. Was that real? Was that calculated? I felt like I was rewatching my own life with subtitles I never knew existed. When I finally brought it up, I didn't show him the notebook right away. I just asked him, casually, why he'd been so interested in psychology lately. He lit up, the way he always did when the topic came up, and started talking about how understanding people gives you an advantage in life, how most people are driven by simple triggers, and once you learn them, you can get almost anyone to do what you want. I asked him, do you use that on us? On family? He laughed, a little too quickly, and said something like, everyone influences everyone. I'm just better at it. That answer told me everything the notebook already had. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse him. I just asked to see the notebook, and something in my voice must have told him I already knew, because he didn't deny it existed. He handed it over without much resistance, almost proud, like he wanted someone to finally see the work he'd put into it. Reading his explanations out loud, in his own voice, was worse than reading them silently. He described Mom's insecurities like they were data points. He described his girlfriend's emotional openness like it was a vulnerability to exploit rather than a form of trust. And when he got to the page about me, he said, almost casually, "You're actually the easiest. You hate disappointing people. That's the leverage." That sentence sat with me for a long time. You hate disappointing people. He wasn't wrong. But hearing my own compassion described as a weakness to exploit rewired something in how I saw both of us. I asked him if he felt guilty. He paused, actually paused, and said, "I used to think of it as just understanding people. I didn't think about what it does to them if they find out." That was the turning point for me, not just in the conversation, but in how I understood human behavior itself. Because I realized Daniel hadn't set out to hurt us. He had gotten fascinated by a tool, practiced it on convenient subjects, which happened to be the people who trusted him the most, and slowly lost sight of the line between understanding people and using them. In the weeks that followed, I noticed something in myself I didn't expect. I wasn't just angry at him. I was more careful with everyone. I started noticing when a conversation felt slightly too smooth, when a favor came right after vulnerability, when someone's timing felt just a little too convenient. It made me more guarded, yes, but it also made me more aware of my own psychology, why I say yes when I don't want to, why guilt moves me more than logic does. I eventually told our mother, not to turn her against him, but because she deserved to make her own decisions with full information. She didn't sign anything he asked for. She was hurt, in the quiet way people get hurt by family, not screaming, just a kind of distance that settles in and doesn't fully leave. Daniel and I still talk, but differently now. He knows that I see the mechanics behind his words sometimes, and I think that changed him too. Not completely, old habits like that don't disappear overnight, but he's more careful, more self-aware, sometimes even catching himself mid-sentence like he's questioning his own intentions for the first time. Here's what stayed with me the most. Understanding people isn't dangerous. Empathy, awareness, even studying psychology, these are just tools, like anything else. What matters is the intention behind using them. The same knowledge that can help you connect with someone, comfort them, understand their fears, can also be used to quietly control them if you decide connection isn't the goal anymore. The unsettling part wasn't that my brother learned psychology. It was that he applied it to the people who trusted him without question, the people who never thought to protect themselves from him, because why would you build defenses against someone who loves you? I think about that notebook sometimes, not with anger anymore, but with a strange kind of clarity. It taught me that the people closest to us have the most access to our vulnerabilities, which means they also have the most potential to either protect us or exploit us. And the difference between the two isn't intelligence or knowledge. It's character. I still don't fully know if Daniel has changed, or if he's just gotten better at hiding it. That uncertainty is something I've had to make peace with, because certainty, when it comes to people, is often just something we tell ourselves to feel safe. So I'll leave you with the same question I still ask myself. If you knew exactly what made the people around you say yes, their guilt, their fears, their need to be liked, would you use that knowledge to understand them, or to control them? And if you're honest with yourself, how sure are you which one you're already doing?